You cancel plans with people but never with your dog. You come home exhausted, barely able to speak, and the first thing you do is sit on the floor with them. Not the couch, the floor. Their level. You've told your dog things you've never said out loud to another person. Not because you're lonely, not because you can't communicate, but because something about that moment, that quiet, unhurried presence, makes it feel safe to be honest. And when someone makes a comment you love that dog more than you love people, you don't deny it. You just smile, because somewhere inside, you know it's not entirely wrong. But here's what that actually says about you, and it isn't what most people think. You are not broken. You are not antisocial. You are not avoiding life. What you are doing is something the human brain does quietly, instinctively, and for very good reason. You are seeking the kind of connection that feels safe enough to actually land. And your brain found it, in a creature that has never once made you feel like too much. There's a concept in psychology called attachment, the way we learn to bond based on early experiences of safety and consistency. When we grow up in environments where love felt conditional, where approval came and went, where the people who were supposed to stay sometimes didn't, our nervous system learns to stay alert around humans. Not because we're damaged, because we adapted, because the brain's first job is to protect you, and part of that protection is learning who is safe and who isn't. Humans, for all their beauty, are complicated. They have moods that have nothing to do with you but feel like they do. They have expectations that shift. They say one thing and mean another. They leave, sometimes physically, sometimes emotionally, sometimes both. And even the good ones, the ones who love you deeply, can misread you on the wrong day and say something that stings for weeks. Dogs don't do that. Not because they're simple, but because their response to you is uncomplicated. You walk in the door and they are genuinely glad you exist. Not glad because you did something impressive. Not glad because you showed up the right way. Just glad. Because you are you and you are here. Your nervous system notices that difference every single time. When you interact with your dog, when they curl against you or follow you from room to room, your brain releases oxytocin. The same neurochemical that bonds parents to newborns. The same one that fires when you feel genuinely seen by another person. To your brain, this is not a lesser connection. This is the real thing. This is family at the level of chemistry, not just choice. And that changes everything about how we understand the people who feel this deeply for their animals. But here's the part nobody tells you. It's not that these people love dogs more than humans. It's that dogs offer the exact kind of love that is hardest to find and most deeply needed. The kind that doesn't require performance. The kind that doesn't evaluate. The kind that is simply, consistently, quietly there. For many people, that consistency was missing early. Maybe the love they received from humans came with conditions attached: be good enough, be small enough, be what we need you to be. Maybe the people who loved them also scared them sometimes, or disappeared sometimes, or were too overwhelmed themselves to be present. The nervous system files all of that away, and it spends years quietly comparing every relationship to that early blueprint. A dog doesn't fit the blueprint. A dog rewrites it. Think about what it means to be loved without agenda. To walk into a room and have someone's entire face change because you arrived. To sit in silence and have that silence feel full instead of empty. To be having the worst day of your life and still be the best part of someone else's. That is not a small thing. That is, for some people, the first time they learned what unconditional presence actually feels like. Not as a concept, as an experience. In their body. Real and repeatable. This is where emotional regulation lives, not in understanding, in repetition, in the safety of something predictable. Your dog is an anchor, not because you're lost, but because anchors aren't just for the drowning, they're for anyone who needs to stop drifting long enough to breathe. When the world is loud and people are complicated and your nervous system is quietly running threat assessments on everything, your dog is the room you know. The weight that says you're here, you're home, nothing needs to be solved right now. That kind of regulation is not avoidance, it's survival. And for many people, it is also the beginning of healing. Something shifts as you get older. When you're young, the preference for your dog over people can feel like a secret, something you protect because you know others won't quite understand. By your 30s and 40s, something loosens. You stop apologizing for it. Not because you've given up on people, but because you've gotten clearer about what you actually need from connection, and you've stopped pretending that every relationship has to look the same to count. The dog love doesn't fade. It deepens. But what changes is your relationship to it. It stops feeling like a symptom and starts feeling like wisdom. Like you figured out something that took others much longer to learn that presence is the point. That consistency is the whole thing. That being known without having to explain yourself is not a luxury. It is what love, at its most honest, actually looks like. Some people find that in humans. Some find it in one person, rare and particular. Some find it in a quiet dog on a Tuesday evening who has never once asked anything of them except to exist. None of those versions is lesser. None of them means something is wrong with you. The question people ask, why do you love your dog more than people, is the wrong question. It misses what's actually happening. It assumes love is a competition, a ranking, a finite resource distributed across a hierarchy. It isn't. What's happening is far more precise than that. What's happening is that you found something your nervous system trusts completely, something that has never hurt you on purpose, something that has never made you feel like your presence was an inconvenience, something that greets every version of you tired, sad, weird, quiet, loud with the same absolute, uncomplicated welcome. And if that makes you love them with your whole self, that's not strange. That's not a flaw in your attachment. That's your heart doing exactly what hearts are supposed to do, moving toward the thing that feels like home. Maybe the real question, the one that actually matters, is this. Not why do some people love their dogs more than humans, but why does that kind of love, steady, unconditional, without agenda, feel so rare when it comes from people? And what would it mean if we offered each other even a fraction of it?